Now, I know you've heard a lot about Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor, who is now running for president of the United States. To get there, he needs to become the Republican nominee, which means he needs to beat Donald Trump. Now, Dave Rubin is a guy who we talk to often at the end of each week. He's a Gen Xer like me, and he's a guy who's got some really cool perspectives about what's happening in American politics. He was a former lefty, he used to live in California. Now, he's joined us in the real world, and he lives in Florida. So here's what he tells us about why DeSantis is the type of guy who should do to America what he's been able to do to Florida.
My life, my family's life, my two companies that I moved here, and all my employees that I moved here, all of our lives have been enriched because of the policies that this guy laid out. I don't worship politicians, but I can acknowledge when politicians do the right thing. Look, on some very simple levels, Florida, and this was before DeSantis, but we're a no-income tax state. So you have low taxes. That helps economic growth. It puts more money in your pocket than you can decide what to do with your money, either start a business, which we have low regulation on, or spend it however you see fit. So that was one thing. Then he did an incredible job, obviously, when it came to COVID, not locking down as long as everybody else, fighting the mandates, et cetera. He's done an unbelievable job when it's come to fighting the woke, not just complaining about the woke and all the neo-racism and the gender stuff and all that confusion. He's actually getting it out of our schools, getting it out of our institutions. That's a beautiful thing. ESG, which is this corporate index that basically puts wokeness into giant corporations and banks and everything else. He's fighting that. So he basically has done everything that you could ask a chief executive, which is what the governor is, to do. And then the beauty of it, of course, is he went by winning his first election by about 30,000 votes, less than 1%, to a guy who turned out to be a meth addict. He won his last election, the re-election, just 6-8 months ago, by 1.6 million votes. And that tells you that if you do the right thing, that people will follow you and support you. And Paul, I'll give you I'll give you two other data points. I think you know the first one, that over 1 million people have moved to Florida in the last 3 years, 1,200 people a day. And the fact that not only are they moving here, but we are the #1 place right now for black-owned businesses, which you might want to tell the people at the NAACP, because they just put out a warning for black people in Florida, which is completely ridiculous.
Of course, garbage.